Hello dear friends. In this lecture series, we are studying the germplasm and cryopreservation, which comes under the subject of plant biotechnology. Up till now, we have seen the different aspects. In that, we have seen germplasm, what is germplasm, and its conservation. So basically, we studied the definition as a live source of all the genes, such as seed or any plant part, which can be conserved for a long period and can be regenerated whenever required in the future. So we studied what is germplasm, why there is a necessity to conserve this germplasm. Then we discussed the different types of the germplasm. In that we discussed in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. In situ means in their natural habitat, ex situ means outside their natural habitat. We have seen the examples like biosphere reserve, national park, wildlife sanctuaries. These are the examples of in situ conservation. Then we discussed ex situ conservation, which is the off-site conservation. The germplasm is brought to some other place apart from their natural habitat, and they are conserved there. Okay, so the examples are gene bank, seed bank, like your botanical gardens, zoological parks. So these are the examples of ex situ conservation method. Today, in this lecture, we are going to see cryopreservation. See, the cryopreservation, the Greek meaning of the cryopreservation is cryos, cryos, cryos means icy cold or frost. So basically, if we consider, if you want to store for anything for a long period of time, biological thing or biological material or a sample, we keep it in a refrigerator. Okay, so that it will be preserved for a longer period of time. So here in cryopreservation, what is done actually, if we see the definition of cryopreservation, it is a preservation technique. Obviously, its name suggesting cryopreservation. It is a preservation technique in which the cells or tissues are preserved in frozen state. See, this word is important here, frozen. Very icy cold, chilled environment, very in the frozen state. It is literally get frozen at a very low temperature, So it is a preservation technique in which the cells or the tissues, in this case we are studying this in the context of germplasm conservation. So you can say germplasm. Okay. So it is a preservation technique in which the cells or the tissue are preserved in a frozen state at a very low temperature. Very low temperature. You cannot imagine. It is given below. It is simply the preservation in frozen state. Okay. Now this low temperature, if you see the range of low temperature, it is in minus. Okay. So in minus 79, minus 80, minus 150 up to minus 196. Okay. So here it is, if you see this temperature, it is completely, the cells or the tissue will get completely frozen. Okay. So how this is achieved? It can be achieved. For example, if we want to preserve at minus 79, we are going to use the solid CO2 or dry ice, it is called as. Then low temperature deep freezers are developed which can preserve a specimen, a germplasm up to around minus 80 degrees Celsius. Then vapor nitrogen, if we use the vapor nitrogen, it can be preserved at minus 150 degree. And at last, which is mostly used in cryopreservation, is a liquid nitrogen, where we can attain the temperature of minus 196 by using liquid nitrogen. Now, what happens actually in cryopreservation? That freezing temperature inactivates cells. Okay, so cells, all the cellular activities get arrested. They get stopped. It gets stopped. So metabolic processes get stopped. So it will not deteriorate. It will not decompose any, because metabolic processes are, again, they got stopped because of such a low temperature, such a freezing temperature, and hence we are able to preserve that sample, that cell or that tissue for a long period of time. So which cells or which tissues can be preserved by this method? Virtually speaking, any tissue from a plant, such as meristem, embryo, protoplast, endosperms, ovules, seeds, can also be used for the cryopreservation methods. Seeds, we have seen that seeds as a germplasm, and there is a need to conserve the germplasm. Therefore, this is one of the techniques by which we can preserve the germplasm. Now, for preserving this, or for preservation, some compounds are used as a preservating material. For that, compounds are called as cryoprotectant. Cryoprotectant. Why these are used? These are used because here we have seen that low temperature can be attained by these compounds or these elements. You can see low temperature can be attained by this, but this low temperature can have a effect or can cause a damage to the cells or a tissue. Okay, so to preserve them from such a damage, some compounds are used, and that compounds are called as cryoprotectant. These are called as cryoprotectant, which help to preserve that cells from this extremely low temperature. Okay, supercooling or a freezing point, freezing conditions. So what are these cryoprotectant? There are different examples, or there are different compounds which can be used as a cryoprotectant. For example, dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. Then there are glycerol. Then there is ethylene, propylene, sucrose, and acetamides. These compounds can be used as a cryoprotectant. Okay. So let us move forward. The technique of cryopreservation. In that, there are different steps. First step is what? Selection of a material. Material is selected. So basically, cytoplasm rich cells or meristematic cells are preferred. They are preferred over the other plant material. Okay, and which criteria is applied for selection of this material? The criteria applied is on the basis of their morphology, their physiology, damage free condition, volume, density, pH. Okay, so overall the healthy plant material is selected for the cryopreservation. Their morphology should be good, externally it looks healthy, physiology should be good, then it should be damage free, it should be in damage free conditions. Okay, like this. Then second step is pre-culture. Second step is what? Pre-culture. So that pre-culture involves the treatment before freezing. There are some treatments which are done before the freezing. Which are that treatments? Treatments is the first treatment is Brief culture of shoot apices. If we have taken the shoot apex as a cell for 48 hours at 4 degrees Celsius. So before it undergoes the freezing in a cryopreservation method, which is very low temperature at that, because low temperature is achieved by that compounds like liquid nitrogen, solid CO2. So before directly putting it into that cryopreservative chemicals, it needs to be kept at 4 degrees Celsius at a 48 hours, so that it can familiarize with the low temperature. Then different additives such as ABA, proline is added to enhance the plant stress tolerance. Okay, so plant stress tolerance, to enhance this, to sustain that temperature, ABA or proline is added. This pre-culturing treatment prevents damage due to cryo. As I said you earlier, that if we don't do that, then what will happen? They will get damaged due to that freezing temperature. Okay, so that pre-culture treatments prevents the damage occurs due to the cryopreservation and enhance the survival rate. Third thing is cryoprotecting. Third step is cryoprotectant addition. In that, as I had discussed earlier, dimethyl sulfoxide, glycerol, ethylene, sugar, these are added as a cryoprotectant, and this cryoprotectant play a very important role in reducing the freezing point of the medium, and it allows the slower cooling rate. It prevents the crystallization of the cell. Okay, that cryoprotectant prevents the crystallization of cell, thereby increasing the longevity, viability of the material. Then fourth step is freezing and storage. What we do in this, different freezing methods like rapid freezing, slow freezing, stepwise freezing are applied for the cryopreservation to protect the cell from the damage. So these are different freezing methods: rapid, slow, and stepwise freezing. Okay, so in this way, freezing condition, as I discussed earlier, these are the compounds which are used to attain that temperature below freezing point. Your minus 196 is achieved because of due to liquid nitrogen, then solid carbon dioxide, then low temperature deep freezers, vapor nitrogen is there. These are utilized for attaining that desired temperature for the cryopreservation process. Then fifth stage is what? Thawing. Now what is thawing? It is warming the samples in order to control the rate of the cooling. Okay, so and prevent the cell damage caused by ice crystal formation. So we have to do it a reverse process. Means we have done cooling. Thawing means to bring it to the normal temperature. Okay, so in short, it is a warming of a sample. Okay, so thawing is important, and it is achieved by dipping in the water for 37 to 40 degrees Celsius, which gives the thawing rate of 500 to 750 degrees centigrade per minute. Okay, so obviously what we do, we have chilled it, we have controlled it, we have preserved it very low temperature. So to regain to its normal temperature, we have to perform this process of thawing. And sixth stage is what? Reculture. Reculture involves after thawing, the material should be washed many times to remove the cryoprotectant, and which may be sometimes toxic. Reculturing involves the culturing of cryopreserved material, which needs special requirement in order to survive, because it has survived from that very low temperature. Okay, so these are the different techniques which are used in the cryopreservation methods. Okay, so I hope you have understood this technique in the concept of cryopreservation and its technique. Thank you for watching.